Alright, so next thing we gotta do with this project is we have to trim a little bit more of this fiberglass to make it to where the suspension can move all the way up and down and it's not gonna hit the fiberglass. And then once we do that, then we can make it to where the rear suspension is sitting at its highest the suspension travel is ever gonna be. Therefore, we can figure out how we're gonna do the rear hoop. That's gonna go from this part of the frame. We have to clear the fiberglass, we have to clear the rear suspension, and to clear the primary CVT, go around here, around the back of the engine, and then back to the frame on the other side to kind of help just protect the engine a little bit better. Yeah, this looks a little goofy right now, I'll admit, but hopefully it'll look better once it's done and I've added all the tubing and everything. So I had to bend this up to clear the suspension. I had to bend this down to clear the fiberglass body. I had to have it stick out this much to make room for building the cover for the CVT. This side, because of the expansion chamber, I wasn't able to have this tubing go to here, like on the other side, because of the way the suspension is, and because of the expansion chamber, the suspension basically makes it to where there's no gap anywhere along here that I could have run any tubing underneath it. I would have had to raise the expansion chamber up a little bit more, which I didn't want to do, so I just decided to have the tubing go to this tube right here. Now, next thing we gotta do is we have to have these pieces of tubing bend up and meet to this piece of tubing, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna have them parallel and just bend them up, or if I should have them a little bit wider at the top to have like a V shape. I don't know, whatever looks best and whatever is gonna be easiest to mount, these engine mounts to the frame. Also, I may need to bend this down a little bit more because right now I can't really get a bolt in here because of the carburetor drain. So I may have to bend these down a little bit more so I can get a bolt in there. So because I can't really put this anywhere, I can't move this thing to the side. This is not a gantry crane. I guess it's just gotta stay here while I work on this. Yeah, really like how that turned out. I'm glad I went at an angle instead of parallel. It's starting to look better already. So now, next thing is let's get the engine back in place, and then we can start working on the second engine mounts. Alright, now we need to add some type of protection on this side for the CVT and the other side for the engine cover. Now, I quickly bent up these two pieces of tubing. These go on this side and the other side. This one connects to the frame on that side of the that side of the brake disc and over there. Now, I will admit, when I installed these and I kind of stood back and looked at it, it's just like, I don't like how adding these makes this thing look. It just makes it look bigger, uglier, and just more weird and complicated looking. And I'll be honest, I was thinking about for a little bit of not adding these and just kind of leaving it just this tubing and this tubing that's surrounding the engine, and like that's it. I was thinking about doing that for a little bit, but then it's like, knowing the kind of trails that I really want to take this on, and knowing that this thing's probably going to be a wheelie machine, which means that this whole back side of the frame is going to be slamming against the ground. I don't want to leave the CVT plus the engine case on the other side completely exposed. I want to add a skid plate underneath this whole engine, and that's what these tubes are going to allow me to do, is just add a whole skid plate to protect the engine. I am going to, like I keep saying, I am going to add a CVT cover, and I was thinking about making it to where the cover is structural, to where it can protect the CVT from rocks or slamming against the ground or anything like that. But then it's like, it would just be a lot easier just to add this tubing. It may make it look a little bit uglier, but you know what? It's going to help protect this whole thing a lot better. So let's just add these. It makes this thing look like it's got a big butt. It's a little bit awkward looking and weird, but you know what? Just because of how wide this stupid engine is, this is just what I had to do. But yeah, kind of looks a little ridiculous. Alright, now I want to add just a couple more pieces of tubing on the back of this frame to kind of help strengthen it up. Because if you actually think about it, the top of the shocks is mounted here, so all the weight of the engine and the whole back end of this thing is being put on the frame right here, and there's really not much connecting this to the back end, to the center rails right here. I mean, there's this that goes down, but it also goes this way, so it's not really structural. In one of the last videos, I was kind of putting weight on this, and you can see this part of the frame flexing really bad. So now I want to add tubing going from the center rails right here up to this corner right here, and then another one going from here up to this corner. This will also act as cross bracing to help strengthen up the frame this way and help connect this part of the tubing down to these center rails. Alright, so from the side, this doesn't look that bad with all this tubing back here, but if you're looking at it from the back of this, it looks a little goofy just because of how wide it is. I mean, it's almost as wide as the fiber. If you're not including the wheel wells of the fiberglass body, this is actually a lot wider. So it looks a little bit out of proportion with the size and everything, but that's just, you know, the engine that we chose to use. The engine that I chose to use for this project is super wide, not very long, so it just kind of looks a bit goofy, a bit out of proportion with the whole rest of this thing. But you know what? I'm hoping it's gonna look fine once this thing is finished and riding and all that kind of stuff. Now, we got pretty much all of the structural tubing that we need to add for the rear of this. We got the engine installed, we got the secondary the CVT, the jack shaft installed. Now we can't forget that we're also going to have to put this giant muffler somewhere right there. I'm really wondering if I can cut this extra portion off of this thing, because man, that just looks really ugly and really just not very nice looking. But yeah, that's gonna have to go here as well as the radiator. So Now, next video of this project, we need to do a little bit more structural tubing to the middle of the frame, as well as possibly a little bit more in the front. And then we can start working on the front steering and get that figured out. And then work on pedals and all that kind of stuff. Then we can start working on trying to get this thing working and running, and gas tank and all the final components that this thing needs. But yeah, guys, that's it for this video. Thank y'all for watching. I'll see ya in the next video.